recording, and I'll put this right. Okay. Good evening to you all. Today is our day 13 of this 3-month data analytics bootcamp. Like I said, this bootcamp will last for about 3 months. Today is our day 13. What we use or normally use to do is to show our outlines for today. That's what we are going to cover for today. So today what we are going to discuss about, we are going to talk about recap on the 12, that is yesterday, and we'll discuss about if and if o. And today's class, like I said yesterday, is like we're going to talk about if conditional formula, that is pro max, that is if pro max. Yesterday we did if pro, and today we are going to do if pro max. So that's what we are going to treat today. So the about the recap on yesterday, what we discussed yesterday, if you can recall, we talk about if conditional formula. We talk about that if is one of the most essential formula in Excel and one of the most important one. And also is a conditional formula that takes criteria that whenever the criteria is true, then you specify the value that you want when the criteria is true. And you can also specify the value that you want whenever the criteria is false. And after that, when we discuss about if, then we move to if nested. That is like I call it if, I call it that. We discuss about if nested. That is if inside if. So it's if statement that will have different criteria with different values if that criteria is true. So we discuss about that and we create some things all yesterday. And I hope each and every one of you try as much as you can to kind of work with what we did yesterday. Like I told you, if statement or if conditional formula is one of the most essential and valuable formula in Excel. And as a data analyst, you need to learn this if formula. You need to learn it. You need to understand it, and you need to know how it works. Because if you understand how this formula works, that's one of the reason why Excel become the most important data analytics software worldwide, because of what Excel can do. So if you learn this with this if formula that you learn, you can analyze data that came from SPSS, data that came from any source. You can analyze that data using Excel due to this if conditional formula that you understand. But don't worry, you learn how to do that in your assignment, because I will give you something related to that. So today we are going to talk about if and if o. So let me explain this if and if o before we move to the practical interface. If and is conditional formula that compare two criteria. It compares two criteria, because if and o are all logical operators. They are all logical operators. So you know what is logic? So it's to compare a particular statement to see which one among them is true. So if you use and, you are saying that you are comparing two statements or two criteria, and such criteria must be true for you to have a value that is true. I will explain this again. You are comparing two criteria. For such criteria to be true, both of them must be true. You must have true in them for you to have what? To have true value. For example, let me talk about the chromosomes of males and females. Let me not confuse you. Please understand this. If we say XX chromosomes is for what? Is for females by default. XY is for what? XY is for males. So if for example, under a column A, under cell A, we put X. Under cell B, we put X. It means if X and X is in cell A1 and cell B1 is X and X, definitely it will return males for us. But where cell A1 contain X and cell B1 return Y, for example, then it will return something for us. Please, do you understand this? I don't know if you get me. Yes. So please understand this criteria, this how this and works inside if conditional formula. Now you are comparing two statements, and both the statement must be true for you to have your value if true. That's number one. Take note on this. It must be true for you to have the value if true. And for the O, that is the O, if O. This O is like you are comparing two statements, but either of the statement that is true, it will return the value if true for you. That is either one of the statement, if it is true, it will return the value for you. For example, cutoff marks is 160 for JAM to admit a student. But you have a criteria that if he scores 6A in his WAEC, if he scores 6A in his WAEC, or he score 160 in his JAM, he will be offered admission. So either of this condition, each and every one of them, either of them that is true, the condition is true. So it's O. It's two conditions that you compared, but one condition is true, definitely is true. That's all. For example, like when we are talking about even the Nigerian nationality, if you are born in Nigeria, you are a citizen. If you live, if you married someone who is indigent of Nigeria, you become a Nigerian. So these two criteria that you can either be born to be a Nigerian or you can marry someone to become a Nigerian. So take note on this. So if you want to know the criteria of someone to be a Nigerian, it's either this or this. And we have even naturalization to live more than a particular period of time, that's 15 years or somewhere about, to become Nigerian. So these criteria that you are seeing, sometimes it can be more than one, it can be more than two, it can be more than three, it can be more than four. So it can take multiple criteria. And even if one of the condition is true, it will return true value for you. But take note, the difference between and O is that for and, you are giving it option. Once one of the criteria is true, then the value will be triggered. And for the and, both the values, both the criteria that you compared, both of them must be true. If one is true, the other is not true, definitely is false. So both the statement must be true for you to see the true value. Please, do you understand this too? So let's do the kind of practical and see what will happen. So sorry, let me close this. Let me open this. Okay, so like I said, I think let me open new sheet so that the example I just mentioned about X, Y, and Z, I think let's just apply that so that we'll see what will happen in that. So let me delete this. I don't need this. So let me make this and to call it chromosome. Or let me just call it test 1, test 2, then I will say gender, for example. That's what I'm going to do. So let me just delete this. So now, for example, we just test someone. What I said, take note on what I said. I said if test 1 and 2 is XX, that is XX, then it will be what? Female. If it is XY, then it will be what? It will be male, like this. So this is what it is. Even though there is this kind of chromosomal theory in criminology, I don't know the name of this Patricia Jacob. She said that if you have criminals always have XYY, they have additional of Y in their chromosomes. that won't make them to be criminals. It's just something that these criminologists are just trying to see. So this is it. So now we are going to just put x, y, and just put something so that we'll just see what will happen. X. Yeah, so I'm just going to make it this, okay. Okay, here supposed to be our x. So here we should be the y, x. This is where it's supposed to be y, x. Yeah, that where we should be putting it. Then y, we can make it x, x, like this. Okay, so let's just create it this way. So if you want to apply this and, we're going to use the and so that we are comparing these two cells. And we must have x, y to be what? XY is going to be female. XX is going to be female and XY is going to be male. That's what I wrote here, if you can see. So let's just see what we can, how to apply the formula. What you are going to say, equals to, if open bracket, then you write your and. If open bracket and. Okay, if equals to and, do you understand it? Then you open bracket again. So you are going to pass the logical one. The logical one is this, that is C1, C2 is equals to X, comma, then you put your comma. Logical 2 is D2 is equals to X2. Because we want to return the value for what? For the female. That is, if it is XX, comma, that is the value if true now. Then you put comma. You close the bracket, then you put comma. Then you are going to write what you want to return. Then I'm going to say female. Then otherwise, that is the value if it is false. Otherwise, I'm going to return male. Then I will close my bracket and I will press enter. So this is what we see. So we have what? We have male. Why? Because we have X there and we have what? And we have Y. You see it? X and Y. So it gives us male. So let me drag it down. So this is it. Where it is XX, we will have female. Where it is XY, we will have male. So if I turn it to Y, then it's turned to male. If I turn this to X, it will turn to female. If I turn this to X, it will turn to female. If I turn it to X, it will turn to female. Y, it will turn to male. Y, it will turn to male. So this is how you use the AND statement inside if statement. That's why we call it the pro max of the if statement. Please, do you understand this AND? Yes or no? Do you understand?
So take it again.
Say it in the chat below. No, sir. No, sir. Yeah, no. Okay. It's okay. I'm taking it back again. I'm taking it again. Don't worry. It's not something big. It's not something big. Do you understand the condition that I said we are going to use? If we have X and X, if it is X and X, we want to, the gender is female. I'm talking about the chromosomes. You all know that. I'm sorry, I don't think you all, those that are in, especially biological people, understand this. So if it is XY, is for male, is for male. If it is XX, is for female. So we said that this is the record. Test 1 will show whether it's X or Y. So test 1 will show on X and test 2 will show whether X or Y. So in test 1, we have all the X there. And in text 2 is showing X, Y, X, Y. So where we have XX, then we want it to return female. But where it is other than XX, maybe it's XY, then we want to see male. So what are you used to is just to put if open bracket, then you write and. Then you open bracket again when you write the and, because we are using the and logical operator now before we start using the O. So what we are going to say is we are going to say if this C2 is equals to X, then we put comma. That's for the logical one. That is if it is X1. And then we come to D2, that for logical 2. If D2 is equals to X again, so we are done with the logics. Then we close our bracket, then we put comma. So now these are the two logics that we want to compare. It can be more than two logics. We can put 2, we can put 3, we can put 4, we can put 5. For example, I want to give admission to people, but I want somebody maybe who scored, let's say somebody who scored, for example, 180, he scored 180, he is from my state, my own state, and he graduated from so-so secondary school, and maybe the net worth of his father is so amount, and something like that. Then I will pass the logical conditions, and such condition must be true for him to be admitted. So if I create this particular formula, even if there is variables more than 20 criteria, once one of the criteria is not true, then that particular student will not be admitted in that school. So please, you should take note on this. This is a very, very powerful formula for you to use. So please, you should take note on this formula. Okay. So what happened? Okay. So now I close my bracket and I put comma. So now I'm going to pass the value if true. So what I'm going to pass is female. That is if XX is true, then if the value is false, then I'm going to say what? I'm going to say male. Then I'll close this, then I'll press enter. Then by default, it gives me what? It gives me female. Why? Because this is XX. If I turn it to XY, it's going to turn to male. If I turn it to X, it's going to be female. If I turn it to X, it's going to be female. If I turn this to Y, it's going to be male. X is going to be, because XX will give us female. Please, do you understand this?
Yes, sir.
Then you can watch the video. That I think what I should do for you. So for this, then I'm going to create a gender again. So for this, we are going to use the O. So for the O, take note, I've told you O will take either of the statement to be true. Either of the statements to be true. If one of the statements is true, it's going to be what? It's just going to be true. That's what will happen. So please, let's try this O. So for the O, we are going to say equals to if open bracket. But for this, I think how do we do it? Let's just create something, because I don't want us to do. If we use the same, maybe you will get confused. What are we going to use for the O? I think, are we going to use the cutoff marks that I talk about? Maybe if someone got maybe he has cutoff marks of okay, let me do something. Let me put it here. Let me just paste it here. So let's say JAM score SSCE grades. So for the JAM score, I'm just going to put maybe 160. Sorry. Okay. I'm sorry, please. Sorry. Okay. So I'm sorry. Let me turn this. It's not supposed to be in. Sorry. It's not supposed to be in Naira. It just need to be called the max. Okay, let's just make it cutoff mark. So I'm going to put 140, 130, 166, 180, 200, 120, 140, 160, like this. Okay, let me just make it 150, 201. For example, this is the JAM scope. So as for the grades is to count the number of COBO that someone has. So if he has anything more than 6, 4, 5, 6, 7, 5, 4, 6, 6, 7, 4. Okay, let's just put 4, 4. For example, so now if the grades is 6 or cutoff marks is 60 and above, that means if one of the criteria is true, so we want to see kind of to have a true value, we want him to be admitted. If either of them is not true, that is, we didn't get either of them to be true, then the person will not get will not be admitted. So let me put 4 here like this. Yeah. So let's just try it and see. So let's see admission status here. Admission status. Okay. So now what we are going to say, if open bracket, then we put O. Please put O. Like we did the and, then we put O. If open bracket, O, then the first logical is this. C2 is greater than or equals to 160. That's our condition. That's the first logical, comma, O, this. That is for the SSCE. That is SSCE grade. Is what? Is greater than or equals to 6. Then we close bracket, then we put comma, then we say admitted. Either if it is not, either of the conditions is not true, then we say rejected. Then we close our bracket and we press enter. So this particular person is admitted. So let's just drag down and see what happened. So take note on this. This is 160. He scores 160. But since his grade is less than 6, but he scored 160, that's why he's admitted. Take note on this. He scored less than 160, is 140, but he has 6, so he's not admitted. So you see, this one is 130 and 5 is not admitted. This one is 160 and 6 is admitted. This one is 180 and 7 is admitted. This one is 200. So either of the criteria, if one of the criteria is true, then the value is true will be triggered and it will work. So this is how this particular things, this if O works in if formula. So it takes when one of the criteria is true, then the true value will be triggered. But if 2 of the conditions are false, 2 of them are false, that is like 130 and 5. He didn't score 60 or equals to 160 and above, and he didn't score 6 and above, then definitely all the 2 criteria are kind of false. That's why the false statement is triggered. So by default, if I turn this to 170, he will get admitted. Or if I turn it to 130, but I turn this to 6, he'll be admitted too, because if either of the criteria, that is one of the criteria, becomes true, and that's why you got this. Please do understand this. Also, I think this is very easy. Those that are trying to say we come again, I think you watch the video, you will get it. Please, I think you will get it if you watch the video. So what I'm going to tell you is, you know, if nested that we use, you know, if nested, when we put if and if inside if. So we can use if nested, because even this if O that we just did, I can delete this. I can delete this. I can create another if, and I will put O again, and I will put another logical operator condition that I want. Please take note on this, because I can say if this is greater than or equals to 140, or let me just say equals to 140, comma, and this is equals to, let's say 6. That is, I'm trying to do the O, comma, then I want us to do partially admitted. Do you understand? Then otherwise, I will say rejected. Then I will close it and press and sorry. Yeah, I will just close it. I don't need to put that one, because I told you in if statement you don't need to put another if false, because you are in if nested. You don't need to put that. So then I will close this one. Then I will press enter. Sorry, I need to put 2 brackets. Sorry, I need to put 2 brackets. Then I will press enter, and I will drag it. So now, if, for example, let me say something. If, for example, here, okay, I just forgot what I put. If I have 140 here, let me make it 5. You see, I have this, I have 140, and I have 5. You see, it's partially admitted, because one of the criteria is true, which is 140 that I use. I use 140, and that's why I get partially admitted. I don't want to confuse you with this for now, please. I don't want to confuse you with this. I don't want to confuse you with this for now. What I think is for you to understand this logical and O and how to use it. Don't worry about creating nested of O and. That's why I didn't put it inside your outlines in schedule of activities. I don't want us to dwell into that so that it will confuse you. Let's not talk about that for now, but focus on what we just did, and it will help you. Maybe in the next coming weeks, when you become more conversant with other how to create more complicated and complex formulas, then we'll talk about that and you will learn it more. So please, if you have any question, you can ask. If you have any question, you can ask. I don't know if someone asks. If you have one condition, please, what we did yesterday, if you understand what we did yesterday, we use only one criteria. If you have one condition, you are not comparing it with any other cell. That means you are using only one cell. That's why you can use if nested or you can use if. But take note, if you are comparing this and this, that is, you have two different criteria that you want to compare. So you are using and or you are using O. Please understand this because your assignment has to do with today's class. It has everything to do with today's class. Please take note on this. Understand this. If you have a question, you ask me about this. And don't ask me to come back again. Yeah. Yeah, the other cell shows false because I didn't pass it false for him when I used that partially admitted, that if nested. When I use it, I didn't pass that for you. I should have create a criteria after this, for example, to say anything less than 140 and less than 6 should be rejected. That's what I should use. So if I use that and I drag the formula, we will not see that false like that. So that why it just showed this for you. But don't worry, we used that other this that we used that without the if nested and of OO and. I saw your question, Abdul Samad, Abdul Basim. No, please don't use not equal to. I didn't talk about that and don't use it. Don't use that operator. And stop asking such questions. Stop asking such questions. Things that I intentionally sometimes I will ignore some things, not to talk about them. So I don't want to confuse you. So stop asking such questions to confuse other people. So if you have a question, you can ask, please. If you have a question, you can ask. If you don't, we can call it a day, and I will just upload the video for you just now so that you will start watching the video. Please get acquaintance with all what we have done. Like I told you, please understand this. It's very, very easy, but you need to understand it. Like tomorrow, what you should expect. I just give you an example. You can be given more than 3 or 5 criteria. Like I said, someone is a male. Maybe based on gender, you want to admit a student maybe in School of Nursing. She's a female, more than 18 years. The net worth or the, what do we call it? That we can say the net worth of her dad. That is the income of her dad is more than average. Then she scored more than 180. She's this, she's that. All these criteria are what you will use to admit a student. So in Excel, you can create that criteria. And once a particular student has such criteria, he will be admitted. Automatically, Excel will give him admission based on that. And this is one of the statements, and in every programming language, even in SQL, these are the types of queries that are written in order for SQL within the database to do a lot of things for people. That's the type of criteria that can be used. For example, even now, if I want anyone that is, for example, I want to pass a criteria that if your account number is not up to 10 digits, I just want you to be rejected. Then definitely you will be rejected once your account number is not up to what? Or up to 10. Or your BBN number is not up to 11. Or it's less than or not up to 11. It's not equals to 11. So whether it is more than 11 or less than 11, you will be rejected. So these are the things you should understand. You should be learning how to use these things. You should learn them. So expect what you are going to do tomorrow. I'll give you an assignment and the task it has everything to do with what we discussed today. So please try as much as we can to watch the video and learn how to use this and O. So if you don't have any question, we only have 2 minutes. I think we can call it a day, and maybe we'll meet tomorrow. Then I will drop your assignment, then you can start working on it.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Do you have any question?
No question, sir. Thank you.
From your
We're
end.
fine.
So there is no any question in the chat also, right? So there
I
is no
don't
any
think so.
question.
Yes, sir.
So
There
please
is no
and please
question.
take more take these formulas, because this is one of the bedrock of everything in this journey, and it's like the magic of it. When you know this and you learn this, believe me, it's like what you will be doing in Excel. People will think that you are doing magic, and it's not magic. So please learn this. I'll drop the video in short minutes. You'll see the video. I'll drop the link. Then you can watch the video. You watch yesterday and today. Then tomorrow, I believe you can do the assignment. So please, thank you so much for everything. So we meet tomorrow. We only have 1 minute, so I think I'm not attending to any question. Then we can you can discuss in the group. I'll open the group for you to discuss better then. Thank you so much. Please, good night. Have a wonderful dreams.